All right, guys, here we're going to talk about the movie Nailbiter, a 2013 horror movie. Had you ever heard of this movie?
I have heard of Nailbiter, but that's a comic or a manga or some shit.
Okay.
It's about a serial killer who like bites the nails off of the victims or something like that.
That's horrible.
Yeah, or I don't know any details or whatever. But someone or I saw like a thing of something to like recommended things to check out. Like dark adult stuff or whatever.
Okay.
And that was one of the things. So going into it, I'm like, could this be something with that? It is not.
I had never heard of this movie before I like saw the box, and I saw the box. It was on sale on like one of my DVD websites.
Yeah.
It was like $1.99, and I was like, well, I'm older now and I have discerning taste, so let me watch the trailer before because like you get
oh, neat.
You get duped a lot by box art, and I've said this in other videos before where box art is usually A and then the quality is like 0. So like I won't watch the whole trailer, but I'll jump to like a couple frames just so that I can see the quality of the film.
Excellent.
And I'm like okay, this looks like it was filmed on an actual camera.
This is a real movie, yeah.
That's enough.
Exactly.
And so didn't really know a lot. I knew there was like a twister or something involved, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So
and honestly, like from the name and just going into it, it doesn't even prepare you for like what it is.
No.
You're like, what? Who's what?
So here's like the loosest like elevator pitch for what the movie is. You have a family of 4 girls, and they're going to an airport to pick up the father, the husband, who has just got back from war. He's been in like Iraq or something, and they want to be the first person he sees when he gets off the plane. You know, makes sense. The issues are they live in Missouri and Kansas, whatever, same thing.
Yeah.
And it's tornado season.
There's a storm a coming.
So like halfway through their trip to the airport, like the weather gets bad, and they're like, "Oh shit!" So
and so someone even warns them, like, "Man, we just want to get some shelter. You're not going to want to like whatever." And he plants the idea in their head of like, "Well, any of these people probably let you hole up in their cellar. Like this is a normal thing around here. Like don't worry."
Yeah, this is a nice town.
And they're driving.
But he does say how he's new to town.
Yes, exactly. They're driving though, and yes, it gets super bad.
You can see it in their rearview mirror. It's
she
like,
sees
oh god,
the finger of God coming towards them.
So they pull over. They bang on the door. There's no answer. They run around back. It has those storm doors. They go into the cellar, and they prepare to ride it out. The storm passes over. The door doesn't open because a tree fell over it. And, like, still kind of normal at this point. Bad luck for sure.
Right.
But then things start getting weird.
Things get weird.
They hear somebody outside. That person starts to like nail shut the windows and the doors. It's like, all right, this is a creepy movie.
And stuff escalates, right? It gets even weirder or whatever.
There's like a dog or some animal outside the window, but
they
still
are trapped in this basement, and you think it's going to be that type of movie, and then it kind of goes.
You're thinking it's going to be a weird cannibalistic down country type people, but it swings into like a werewolf movie.
It's awesome.
And it's an interesting style of werewolf movie.
I'm so into this.
They don't go heavily overboard into costumes and CG and stuff. They don't really do a big spectacle of the werewolves themselves.
Yeah.
They're kind of like a mid transformation, if you will, of people and into an animal.
It's like a werewolf movie, but instead of a full moon, it's the tornadoes. It's like the storms.
Yeah, the storm brings it out of them.
That are bringing them out. I thought that this movie has some problems, but like that concept, bringing a new concept to me that I have not thought about before.
I like this, yes.
And peppering in little lines, developing it, giving me little stuff to go on. This is clearly, whoever made this is like clearly someone who's like, this is my winning idea, and I'm going to present it.
Something I like about this, and they don't even go into a lot of detail, so like, it might not even be as good as I've made it in my head.
Yeah.
But I like the idea because, like, animals freak out during, like, lightning storms and storms and stuff. And so, in my head, these are werewolf people, and it's just something that kind of lays dormant in them. And whether they can control it or not a factor in this. It's that during the storm, they freak out and they turn.
So there's a great little... Well, go ahead.
I just think that alone is a great thing, because if you've ever been around animals and you're like, oh, yeah, they freak the fuck out during this shit. Yeah, whatever. And I think that's a cool way of going about it.
They take a long time of being like, well, everyone responds differently. It's my side of the family, this and that. The sheriff guy, who has all of his brothers are just like raving animals by that point. He says, like, my teeth hurt a little bit. I'm feeling a little tight and tense here, but, like, I think I'll be okay. If that next storm rolls in so soon, though, I don't know if I'm going to be able to control. And you're like, oh, that's so, like, little things. And, like, yes, this is exposition and you're getting dumps of dialogue or whatever, but it's like, I'm like, oh, this is so much better than, like, a middle budget horror movie has any right it to be with
and
the way it's delivering stuff.
This is a relatively low budget horror movie.
I was going to say, were you able to find the budget?
I found the budget on this film. This is a $300,000 budget.
Oh my god!
That is such a treat that it was done on this. And like there are certain tells here and there, like the acting can be spotty at points.
Depending, yeah.
There's a lot of lines early on in the basement that I was like, wow, you're just reading that. Like it wasn't really a delivered line.
So like the kids are like not great, and like like in my opinion the like worst of the young actresses gets injured and incapacitated first. So I was like, excellent use of like your actors, of figuring out who should be like, oh no, she's in a coma or something. I'm like, perfect, good. The mom, I really liked the mom.
Did you like that they made her an alcoholic and it opens up in the AA meeting?
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. It didn't really end up playing a part later on, but it did humanize the character, and I thought it added some stress into why these people don't really get along and why the daughter might be kind of a rebel, because she comes off her first scenes as like, she's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm ditching class. I'm smoking my cigarettes. I'm doing whatever. And I thought that it lended to that character's backstory, because you're like, okay, you would be kind of this person because you come from this broken home. The dad's not home. The mom's an alcoholic.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I thought a lot of these things fell into place for me, and they made sense, and I liked what they did.
I do a thing now that I'm going to start calling the 10-minute chicken into the movie, because we watched something where I was like struck by like, wow, we've like taken care of so much of like the like work of like a movie by 10 minutes in, and it's so like good or whatever. Right? So like at 10 minutes, I like paused it and wrote down like the AA meeting, the daughter is like stringing along fake DJ qualls in like the car and all that stuff, and that never comes up again, but that's fine too, right? We got these awesome like the storm reporter TV transitions where like they're using the TV to like go from one place to like another, or like the car and like the diner and all that stuff. She's like hesitant about him returning from war, so like that's part of that whole detail. It like plants the seed of like something's up, or maybe she has more knowledge, right? It's like interesting stuff. There's this like road trip, like the girls are going, and it's like a montage where it's like MOS, and you're just hearing like weird sounds and music and all that stuff. So like you don't have to get into like what exactly are they saying for this. They're like laughing, and the mom's like making gestures, and like the daughter's like rolling her eyes, like, Mom, you're so embarrassing. You get all this nice stuff by 10 minutes in. You're like, okay, I kind of like know these people. I made one note of like questionable but competent sound design. Visuals are good. That's like my thing, because there's weird like there. It's like and for 300,000, I would have thought like a few million or something like that.
Yeah, this seemed like a mil and a half to me, and that's why I'm like 300,000. That's very.
That
good.
is actually literally amazing. We will get to some of the issues or whatever, but like for that amount of money, and this is what I keep saying about certain stuff where like the budget comes into play. Like I think this does a lot of like the filmmaking stuff really good. Some of like the lighting and shots and flow of stuff felt like good, and to have that little money but still take care of that stuff, I'm like, okay. I don't think that stuff can necessarily just be fixed with more money. You have to be like good at it, and I think these people were kind of like good at some of these things. But some of the sound design is very like stock audio stuff. But for $300K,
it had to be.
That's fine. Exactly. You hear like birds tweeting at one point. I'm like, that's like an early morning noise, and they're like driving on the highway. Like, what's going on? It was weird, but still, like, big achievement for the.
Nothing about sound design really pulled me out. The only things that really were jarring that like pulled me out of like this is a movie were a couple of like throwaway lines and their deliveries. But honestly, nothing was crazy egregious where it really hurt the movie itself. It just pulled me out of it. Like we're like, okay, I was on a ride and now I'm off and I'm back. Like like I had like a hiccup in the movie.
Do you remember any of the hiccups? I don't want to put you on the spot.
The one you didn't like, that girl going, gotta pee, and like running into a bathroom. I was like, all right, you're like 15 years old. That seems like that wouldn't be something you would say.
Do you have your cell phone? Duh.
Do you have your cell phone?
Try texting someone. Good idea.
Good idea. I'll text.
Yes.
Those type of moments were very like, what? Like, I understand it was in the script.
Yes.
And I get reading the script, but it was the way you read it. It was like you just held it up like it was a cue card and said, read this. Text. I have a phone.
Was that the youngest daughter or the oldest daughter?
That was the older daughter talking to the, I guess that's the youngest daughter. Yeah. Or even just like, even the mom's dialogue was like, we must clean the wound.
Okay. Yeah.
It's been an hour. I don't think it needs to be cleaned. I think you got to focus on your shit. Like, Is it wrapped? You're fine. Walk away.
The mom I was okay with. The like second, like the middle daughter was the worst to me. The youngest was not great, but she didn't. The way she was used.
So let's say Bookworm was the
Bookworm. Yeah,
she's the youngest or the second youngest?
I consider her the youngest. She might not be the youngest. But she was the shortest, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. So, like, her character, it was, like, excusable. Because, like, sometimes bad child actors, like, kids are just weird. And she was like, I like books and I'm weird. I was like, that's fine, whatever. And the oldest daughter kind of, like, I'm not a huge fan of her, but, like, over the course of the movie, I was like, all right, you're fine.
She grew on me.
Okay.
And I do think it was just a case of, like, I'm like, well, I guess a bad line gets read poorly. Yeah. I think something that I've learned more as I've gotten older is like you have a script and the script should be like what gets you from point A to point B, but if something sounds weird, you should read something else. Like say something else. Just throw it out there. If they don't say anything, you got away with it. Like
well, and that's all the great like you hear all those stories about like did you ad-lib stuff? It's like, well, the script is like, hey, did you get the money? I don't know. Did you get the girl? Whatever. But I was like, we need that money. You like change like some good actor came in, like Harrison Ford for Star Wars famous stuff. But this happens a lot, I think, where you get the good actor in and they go, I get the idea, and they put it down.
Yes.
And they just do like I imagine Christopher Walken is doing that, and certain people like they're not sitting there like, oh, what should I emphasize in the sentence? Like I
could imagine Christopher Walken saying, which syllable should I now? Do you emphasize the this or the that?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the movie itself, like, and then again, not to say the script was bad. The script was fine. It was just a few lines here and there, a combination of how they were delivered and what they were written. It took me out of it. But if those were the only problems I really had with the script,
I'm so impressed
with the movie that I really I didn't have much problem with it at all.
I didn't see the budget on IMDb, so I didn't go looking any like deeper for the budget. I think that's where I saw it. So like in my head, I was kind of like, well, it's probably like $4 million or something like that. Just
which wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for what you had on screen here. They put like all their money was on screen. It was great,
and you could tell like so. There's like the like just like the number of characters and like the number of locations and like the like the look of it was good enough. And then like you can tell too, they have certain special effects stuff, but not enough, and they're just making it work, right?
Yes,
but in like a Ginger Snaps way, in a way that I'm like, okay, sure, fine. Like it didn't like I think had they had $4 million, you might have had like a weird CG golem looking monster running, and that would have like made this like, oh, it's like another forgettable like boring cheap horror movie or whatever. This was actually like really good. I'm like, I like this. This is awesome. You just see like eyes and teeth and hands and like you hear noises and stuff, and I was like, this is working for me. Good.
I was really quick like about to get angry when she first pulled out the nail gun. I was like, oh my god, that needs a compressor, you fool. You can't just use a nail gun. And then she's like pulls out a tang and I'm like, all right. Because how many movies have we watched where like they just don't know how tools work and they just use things?
Well, in their
defense,
like
she did use it as a gun, which it wouldn't work.
I was gonna say,
but
she like spins something, so I was like, is that her like undoing or like tricking the safety or something? I don't know. There was some weird thing, but yes. In like movies' defense, I don't know how tools work, so I'm like, okay, nail gun. They're gonna use it like it's gonna shoot nails at them. That's fine. I'm like totally fine with that. But I did appreciate because even with like the like moonshine thing, like all these different things, they had like whatever elements they had, and they were using them and stuff. And
I thought the moonshine thing was a bit strange that they took the whole still.
Right.
Like, wouldn't you just take the propane tank?
You would think that would be all that you needed.
Yeah.
Yes.
But whatever.
But that's okay. We had to kill the youngest daughter.
Oh, she had to die.
Yes. So,
but this was a decent movie. So it was written and directed by the same guy as Patrick Rea, whatever the thing is, and like he really didn't do much.
I hit up the IMDb for like because I'm like, who made this? What's happening? And I noticed two things. One is it's a bunch of horror and shorts and stuff that I haven't heard.
Like
of, right?
30 shorts, like a ton. Not too many in real things.
Which is good.
Did you happen to notice that
Children of the Storm?
Yes, he is making a part 2.
And I said I noticed two things. That was thing 2.
The same actress who is the lead on this is going to be on that one,
which is good.
She is the only person confirmed.
That's all you need.
My prediction is it's going to be her, fake DJ Qual guy, her dad are all going to team up and they're going to take out a whole town. Yeah, something
out for
fun.
revenge. Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. So, like, I guess we should get around now to, like, the elephant in the room, perhaps, is, like, the ending of this movie.
Sure.
Where, like, I was like, I was going like, this is an 8 out of 10. This is a charming, lovely. I love everything about this. It's so interesting, and the ending has caused me such like pain and strife. Where I'm like, the ending is so like it's not an ending. It's like this is like a season finale. This is like part 1. I'm like, this is part 1, right? What's wrong?
And it is.
I watched the entire credits because I'm like, there has to be something that pops up. Something has to happen. This is the ending. This is I was like so upset by the ending.
So the ending.
You like the ending? No.
So like the ending is her, like just kind of disappearing.
Yeah. Everything gets weird.
Then,
at night, it cuts to the next morning. She's gone.
She's gone, and then it picks up at the airport. Her dad's flight had been delayed.
He's like,
he lands. You have 4 text messages. What? And then it kind of ends again.
And it ends. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this like mountainous man is now gonna go grab his duffel bag and go into town or whatever, right?
I wasn't like you seem perturbed by the ending.
Oh, I figured you would be like, this movie sucks because the ending is so bad, and I thought I was gonna have to convince you that the movie was so good for so long that the bad ending doesn't matter.
The ending didn't bother me. What would have I think it would have upset me more if a sequel wasn't planned. Like if this would have been like if this would have been the guy saying I'm no, but I have such a big issue with like you had this optimistic ending that only really works if a sequel's coming. Oh, this movie was 7 years ago. Like
Right.
But this movie does plan to be made, and even honestly, even if it wasn't, because like, what would be a better ending if it would have ended?
Ending. There should have been an ending. This movie just stopped.
What would you have done for your ending?
Okay, so like you have to do something. This ends so like openly that this is just begging for like more stuff to happen. You don't. They plant several things that I thought were going to be paid off. Yeah, the mom says, you were born during a tornado or something like that.
So you thought she was going to be
a
werewolf?
She's like one of them, or she had, or maybe she's like the anti one of them, or like immune to something will be happening there, right? And I started to wonder because I hadn't paid like enough attention in the beginning, but I was like, oh, like was the dad born and raised there? And like now he's coming back home to his hometown, and like the mom moved there, or like how does this all work? Did they drop any lines for that? Because then I'm like, he could be in on it, or one of them, or like also have powers or something like that.
I didn't ever think that she was part of it.
Some sort of thing or whatever.
I didn't think that he was part of it. How I took it was I was like, this is kind of a daring movie because it killed off 3 of the 4. Leads in the movie, which already you don't often have something like that, especially when it involves kids and a mother and stuff. So I was like, okay, you're gone in one direction, and you could take this ending 2 ways. And I think I originally led it towards, they're just never going to explain the girl. She's dead. Like all 4 of them died, and the dad's going to come back for revenge. That was how I took it walking away. Yeah. And then once I see, of course, that she's coming back, and I don't think it's just going to be for a flashback. I think she'll actually be in the movie. I took it, the different direction where it's going to be a family affair to kill this whole town. There was no real ending where she could have won, short of like one of those horrible things where it's like, I got them all to go into a barn, and then I turned on the gas, and so you knew she wasn't going to win.
Yeah, I knew the ending wasn't going to be traditional, and even if you did everything else you did, if they had just showed something about what's going to happen or like what the thing is or whatever, just end it in some way.
When you say what the thing is, what do you mean?
Like show her getting away or show something. I don't know. Like this is like, to me, this is like not an ending. This is just like we stopped the movie. We just ended, like we ended because we stopped, right?
I read a little bit about this. They actually ran out of funding halfway through the movie.
Okay.
And I do think that they may have filmed that airport bit there as a quick patch to finish the movie.
So that,
but I don't think
makes
it was
perfect sense,
because they did mention specifically that was one of the scenes they filmed in the next wave of things.
Okay.
It didn't hurt me for like, while I do agree that it could have been a better ending. I think if you took it as just like because a lot of I've seen too many movies recently that kind of just wash out with an ending where it's like it's up for your imagination on what happened. So I took it as she died, her family died. Okay, we're probably going to get a sequel with that dad, though, because he's a big mountain man who wants revenge. Because he knows the town, he knows the house.
Something about it seemed like they were intentionally leaving it a certain way, and I didn't like that. I'm shocked that you're okay with it, because I feel like you hate things like this that are not like, what are you doing, or whatever.
I thought, like, in general, most movies wind down toward the ending. There's, like, a peak in the middle, and then, like, it kind of just, winds.
Peak in the third act.
And like, this was totally in that realm. Sure. And while it definitely just ended, it didn't really fizzle. It kind of just stopped.
Yeah.
I thought for this movie,
like,
because of how a hurricane or a tornado rather works, I was like, oh, that's kind of like how an ending would.
It's a metaphor for a storm.
It comes through and then it's just gone, like nothing had happened.
Yeah, sure, and I think that they could have done that better. Is all I'm saying. So like this ended the way like a short story might end or something, like a written thing, which is okay. But I feel like for movies, like there's other stuff you can do to do this ending like better, that like feels better.
They probably would have wanted to. I do think that budget falling out, because this got filmed. I think it was like a year later that they filmed the ending part there.
That makes
so like, it might have been. We don't have a movie. I don't know if I can get those actors back. That location's gone.
So like
it's over.
So like all of these extenuating circumstances, right? I felt a lot better about it when I like read that there was like a sequel, because I didn't do that until after I saw the ending, right?
Yeah.
So like knowing that they ran out of money and knowing that they plan to pick up and like do more stuff with this like material makes me feel better. But the movie, as I watched it, made me feel bad at the end. I was like, oh no, why are you doing this? I was like, fuck, you were doing so well for so long, and then this happened. Oh no. Right.
I still recommend watching this movie.
The movie's so good. That that's my whole thing. Where I'm like struggling to be like, how much should the ending?
I thought this was a good movie before I knew that budget. When I knew that budget, that's when I was really like, no, this was actually a great movie. This person did so much with that that little budget.
Yeah, I am shocked that they did so well with that. Yeah,
it's really
There's some great little shots. I didn't use my notes at all for this talk, but there's some great little shots, like when the mom, when like they're boarding them up again, and you see like the light across the mom's face, and then like get like cut away in like little segments and all that stuff. Like the filmmaking aspect of this is like really good for like what it is or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And like the premise is so good. I love the idea of like a new thing, right? The whole town is kind of in on this crazy.
Yes, and that's also kind of weird that like you have this whole town of people. I wonder what exactly, and they could totally subvert expectations where Children of the Storm could be a prequel. It might not actually pick up at all.
Oh no!
Until like maybe the end or something.
Yeah.
Like it could be like, just for the sake of whatever, it could be like her tied up in a thing and then them like telling her the story of how this stuff happened or something. Because we know she's in it, so it can't be a 100% prequel.
Yeah, unless it's spanning both the time periods or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of goes through the time.
Yeah, but I'm interested. I like this guy. I would see more things by him.
I was super impressed. Do you have a numerical rating you would give it?
I would give, so if you're just rating it on it and not on like this movie was made on like no money and whatever, like if you're rating it just for what the movie is, I'd give this like a 6.8, I think.
I was gonna say 7 because I was feeling 8 goodness, but I know, and like I like agree with everything you're saying. So it's this weird like role reversal where I'm the one who like has a problem with the ending, where I thought I'd be like defending the ending to you or something like that.
Yeah.
But I have to take off points for that because I didn't like the way it ended. I was like, oh no, I wanted to have, because you can make something open and ambiguous and just do it like differently. It sounds like they ran out of money, but that's gonna affect your score, champ. If you run out of money. So like would be like an 8, and I want to knock it down to like a 7. But I feel like we're in agreement, and that's amazing. I would be very not in agreement here.
Yes, but if I was to rate this as a low budget movie in the the under $1 million film thing, they like it's like a 9.
No,
like,
it's like a 12. It's like an amazing achievement.
Because
for that little money. That's incredible.
There are better movies with lower budgets, but I think this is a solid.
There are so many worse movies with higher budgets.
Oh yes,
though.
But that doesn't
incredible.
Push the whole scale. That just makes those rate poorly. But yeah, but in any eventuality, this is a thumbs up movie. I recommend this. I'd say check this out because it's different. It's not like it's not a werewolf movie that I've seen before, and that's rare these days.
I mean, we've spoiled a lot of things here, basically, but like, yes, like it's bringing something new to the table. It's executing well, and in lieu of how little resources they had, amazingly well, right? And like, I do want to keep an eye on like who made this and see what they're making next, and like not the least of which is this like sequel, continuation thing, but also anything else. Like whoever did this can do a lot with not much.
Yeah,
and that's amazing.
I think this is a movie I could have been given full spoilers, picked it up and watched it like a year and a half later, and I would have been fine because so much would happen in between then.
we've spoiled so much that I feel like part of my enjoyment of this was like unraveling it, and like usually when I unravel a horror movie, you're like unraveling it and stuff's falling out and it's wet and you're like, this is disgusting. I don't like this, but this was like unraveling and just candy and delicious things inside.
I've definitely watched reviews before I've seen movies before, like not like thinking, oh, I don't want to see that movie. Let me just watch the review, see what it's about.
I already know what else.
And then being like, oh no, you know what? I totally want to see this.
Yeah.
And then I'll wait, and if I see it at the thrift shop or I see it real cheap, I'll pick it up. I just won't watch it right away. And then like after a couple of years or whatever, or a year, I'll be like, oh, I heard this was good, because we see so much in media. We remember things. Somebody spoiled like all of the first season of Game of Thrones. I waited like a year. I had no memory of what they said.
Well, and like even things you hear, you think you know what that means, and then you watch it unfold for an hour and something minutes, and it's different. Than like,
and your memory perverts things.
Yeah.
I remember watching Breaking Bad, and a friend who had pitched the whole thing to me, and like with spoilers, I thought Hank was in on it with him, so I kept waiting. I'm like, when is Hank?
When's it happening, buddy?
Because he said he's a drug dealer, but you see his cousin is or whatever
he's helping him
is
That's
a DEA agent, so he has the in, and I'm like, oh, cool, and I was waiting for that. Never happened.
How do you think that guy got Breaking Bad so wrong?
Maybe he didn't. Maybe I just waited so long to watch it, and I heard it that way. But or he said it and I extrapolated. Yeah. But that's how I remember it. But my point is just, if you haven't seen this and you watch this review, wait a little while and watch it.
No. If you're somehow here, like Nailbiter doesn't communicate like what this is, it should be called something about a storm or something.
I think it being called Nailbiter is the greatest troll of all.
Yes, right.
And the cover of this movie
has nothing to do with
is just
either,
like
right?
a red bullshit
it's a red,
like
weird
doodle
face man.
Yeah.
No, so like just write down on like the little thing, or like in your phone wherever you write stuff down, just write down movie Nailbiter
2013, because there might be more than one.
God, so 2013, right? And just eventually watch that. If you like horror or movies or like anything, this is one of the things.
Yeah.
I would put it up there with like Ginger Snaps and like low budget, like, oh, you're doing this weird thing, like movies. I'm like,
it's weird because Ginger Snaps to me, like, there's a type of movie, because it was like this real low budget practical effect type thing, that like now there aren't really movies like that anymore, because you don't really see practical effect movies anymore.
Right.
And like, while this has some practical, there's still like the once you have the little dottings of CG in something, it's like a different realm. It's like a different thing. It can never be that like classic cheap movie to me.
Sure. I mean,
but it has the same spirit.
And like, it's the spirit that I'm into, is like, we have this idea. We're approaching something from like a different angle, and and like so many movies are like, we have this idea. Here's a pile of garbage, and you're like, it's the idea. I'm picking through there's like a coffee filter and a banana peel, and I'm like, oh, the idea's in there. It's okay. Yeah, it's a good idea. Just get this smelly garbage out of here, right? But this is like actually like a nice thing. Here's this nice idea, and it's not like super high budget and super like over the top. It's just this nice little thing that's like pretty well done, and like it has this new interesting idea. It's so rare this happens.
And we're going to get a sequel soon. I do want that sequel to explain more about the people and like what their powers are exactly, and what makes them different than humans.
Show me different examples of the whole thing. I'm so on board for this train.
All right, guys, so that's our thoughts on this. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.